Hey guys, my name is HashirVani and welcome back to my channel. This is the second part of the structural masterclass. In this particular masterclass, we're going to be covering a wide range of topics. We're going to be starting with our Rebar schedules. We're going to be studying some bar bending details, bar bending schedules, and then we're going to be taking a look at some of the structural trusses we have. And then after that, we're going to be taking an internship project. In that particular internship project, we're going to be learning how do we collaborate between different disciplines we have, collaborate between our structural drawings that are presented to us, and then correlate those drawings with the architectural drawings. How do we reach those particular drawings? How many sections sort of we have in our drawings? We have our sections, we have our elevations, we have our side views, etc., etc., 3D views, etc. How do we correlate between those particular views? And then after that, how do we execute those particular drawings in our Revit here? So let's start with the first topic, that is our Rebar schedules. In the last masterclass, we created some footings, we created some. I'll just go back, I'll go course here and I'll select some shaded. Can you see we created some trapezoidal footings, we created some beams, we created some columns, we created some plinth beams, we created some area reinforcements, sort of slabs, etc., etc. And then if I go to wireframe here, you can see we created some rebars into these particular structural elements as well. These sort of are color coded according to their dimensions, according to the diameter of those rebars. So now the thing that we should do is we're going to creating a schedule of these particular rebars. How do we create those particular schedules? So I'll simply go to Rebar schedules, schedules here, and I'll select new schedule. I'll move down to structure, and then I'll select this Rebar, structural Rebar here, and click OK. And now we have two sort of fields here. We have available fields and we have scheduled fields. These scheduled fields are going to be appearing in our schedules, so I can move these fields from here to here in order for them to appear in my schedule. So for example, I want bar diameter in my schedule, I want bar length in my schedule, I want count in my schedule, and I want let us say a rebar number in my schedule, I want some shape in my schedule, etc., etc., spacing I want, etc., etc. I can add those into my schedules. If I want to move them up or down, I can move them with this particular move parameter key, and then I'll click OK. Can you see a schedule has been created? If I want to change the name of the schedule, I can do it here. And then if I want to change any of the fields and add other sort of fields, I can do it in the edit. And then if I want to change some add some filter, I can do that particular filter by here. And then if I want to add some sorting or grouping, I can do it here. For example, I want it to sort by diameter, and then I want ascending, and I click OK. Can you see 8 then will come 10, sort of it has grouped or sorted by ascending order. And then if I don't want to see every single bar here, what I can do is go to edit, and I'll uncheck this itemize every instance, and then it gets sort of grouped in one particular 8 mm diameter bar, and then the bar length varies, the count is shown here, etc., etc. So if I want to change some formatting, I can do it, all the changes. For example, here I want a vertical, I want, etc., I want some heading to be changed, etc. I can do that here. If I want to change the appearance, I can do the change here. For example, if I want thin lines, etc., I can change that here. Now in the newer forms of newer versions of Revit, I'm using 2023, so 2024 and beyond versions, you can add another field that is not visible here called bending detail. So that bending detail sort of appears as a bar bending schedule. I'll be able to show it in my Google. If you add a field here called, you go down and you add a field called bending detail, you'll be able to add those particular details into this schedule. And then what that does is you sort of gives you a preview of those particular particular rebars. For example, we have a stirrup here. Can you see this stirrup preview of this stirrup has been shown here? And then we have some alphabets according to the sides of those particular stirrups, and then the detail of those alphabets is shown here. I can show you guys these alphabets, but I won't be able to show you the bending details since I'm using the previous version of Revit. If I want to add those ABCDs, do you guys remember what those ABCDs are? For example, if I go to stirrup here, can you see here in my properties, if I scroll down, I'm able to see the dimensions A, B, C, D, etc. If I want to change it, let's say I want to change it to 300, can you see that sort of gets changed, this rebar gets changed. If I want to change the hook length, etc., I can do all these things in here, and I can show that in the schedules. Simply go to fields, and then here we have A, B, C, D, etc., E, etc. We can add them here. For example, if I want to add the A, I can simply add it here, and it gets shown here. I'll just go back to my sorting and grouping, and I'll simply itemize every instance, and I'll change it to noun for now. Can you see I'm able to see every single thing now? So this is all about Rebar schedules. I've created some schedules here. For example, I've created this schedule. You can do it according to your project, according to the fields you have added in your project, and then you can also, if you want to expand these sort of cells here, we can do that, and create some Rebar schedules and bar betting details, right? So now let us move to the next part we have. For example, I'll go to side view. Here we have in our structure tab called trusses. If I want to add some truss, I can add a truss here. For example, I'll go here. This truss has been added. I'll do it in 3D. Can you see a truss has been added, but I'm not able to see it correctly. What I can do is I can go to find here. I'll go to shaded here, so I'm able to see it. The particular top part is called as top, sort of a top chord, and the bottom sort of part is called the bottom chord. And these elements, vertical and diagonal elements, are called webs. We have vertical web, we have diagonal webs here. So guys, the next thing that we have is a structural truss. We go to the structure tab here. Can you see an option here called trusses? I'll select this. So I have no trusses loaded into my template, so what I can do is I can simply click on yes here. We'll go to, I'll show you guys, we go to US, and then we go to structural trusses here, and we can select any of the trusses we want. We have pink truss, hold truss, pad truss, warren truss, etc. For now I'll select the hold truss. I'll select open now. So I'll be able to simply use a line command here and draw this particular truss. I'll click OK now. So I'll go to 3D view now. Can you see a truss has been created? Now we have in our truss we have a bottom chord. This particular horizontal element at the bottom is called the bottom chord. We have a top chord present at the top, and we have a webs. This is known as a vertical web, this is known as a diagonal web. If I want to change the properties or add some other types of trusses, I can simply go here and load the particular family here. And now the next thing that I want is, I'm not able to select any individual elements. For example, I want to select this vertical web here. I'm not able to select this. So can you see guys, the whole of the text is selected. If I want to select any of these particular elements, I'll simply press tab, and now I'm able to select it, but I'm still not able to delete it. If I press the delete key, can you see we get a warning here, pinned objects are not deleted. So that means this object is pinned. So what I can simply do is I go to the unpin option here, and now this has been unpinned. I can simply delete it, move it up or down using these arrow keys. Can you see I can delete this as well. So now the next thing is I'll select the truss now. Can you see we have a start level and end level, just like we have in our beam. So if I want the start to be at 1000, let's give 1000 value here. Can you see that this sort of, yeah, so this sort of end moves up 1000. Can you see guys, this has been moved up 1000 mm, and the end offset I'll give it a 500 here. Can you see now this end moves up 500 units. So now the next thing, if I want to delete my top chord, I can simply delete it here, uncheck this box here, and this gets deleted. I'll click apply here. If I want to delete my bottom chord, I can do that as well. Let's turn them on quickly. And now if I want my bearing chord to be the top chord, I can change it here as well. If I want some bearing vertical justification from center, from end, etc., top, bottom, etc., we can change all of that here. And now the next thing we have is our rotation angle. So what does that rotation angle mean? So sometimes, can you see, if I want this sort of truss is at a vertical orientation, but sometimes I want this particular truss at some particular angle. So I can give an angle, let's say 45 degree I want. Click apply this truss. Okay, so this truss gets inclined at an angle of 45 with our floor or with our levels that we created. But can you see guys, we have an I section here as the top chord. This I section has also been aligned at an angle of 45. Sometimes I don't want this, I want it in a vertical orientation, so I can simply go and uncheck this box here. Can you see now these top chords and bottom chords has been vertically aligned. Can you see guys, we have an I section as a top chord. If I want to change this I section, I can simply go here. We have a top chords, we have a vertical webs, we have a diagonal web, so we have a bottom chords here as well. So if I want any of these elements in our particular trusses to be changed, I can simply go here. Can you see set framing type? I can change it to universal beam, etc., etc. As not in this particular trusses. I'll show you guys in a different template. Let's go. I'll go to file here. I'll go to structure, So just to show you guys, it is not loaded, so we have loaded a different sort of truss here. I'll simply go to structure here, I'll go to truss, I'll simply create a truss here, and now I'll just go to 3D. Sorry, yeah, 3D. Am I able to see it? No, it is the different one. I'll go to 3D here. Now can you see, guys? I want to change it. Sorry, I want to select the truss first and then I'll change it here. Can you see we have our vertical web stop chords? I'm able to change it to any of the section. For example, I want hollow, circular hollow section here. I'll click OK, and now the top chords gets changed to a hollow section. So this way you can change the top chords, the webs, the bottom chords to any of the sections, any of the steel elements you want, right? I'll simply close this file for now. So this is sort of aligned at an angle of 45. Now the next thing what I'm going to be doing is I'll just go to the side plan or level 0. I'll simply go to architecture and add some walls. Let's add some 2 walls here, or perhaps let's create some sort of 2 here, and then I'll simply go to roof architecture. We have some roofing here, roof by footprint. I'll select at a level 1. Okay, now let's create a boundary here, sort of like this. So I want the slope in this and this orientation only, so I'll simply select this, I'll control it, I'll select this, and then I'll define this. I'll sort of uncheck this box here. I'll click open. Yeah, we'll simply don't attach it for now because we want to add some trusses here. So I'll simply just delete this particular truss now. And now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to go to structure. I'm going to be going to truss here, and then I'll select this one and I'll create this one, sort of like this. I'll go to 3D, or perhaps what I'm going to be doing is go to some elevations, go to some east elevation, north. Yeah, so I'm able to see this. I'll just simply extend it, or simply go down. Can you see crop view, crop region? I'm able to see the crop region now. I'll simply extend it. Because I'll move to our 3D and I'll simply go to VV and VR, and then make sure our roofs have been, can you see our roofs are right, and trusses. Maybe go to structure here, structural rebars. Okay, so now I've turned on my trusses, so I can see them in my 3D view. So I'll simply go here and add some, let us say 4000 here, and I'll click 4000 here as well. Sorry, 400 has been selected here. Okay, I'll click apply. Can you see a truss has been created? But what I want, I'll go back to my edit footprint and I'll simply uncheck these slopes here and then define the slopes for these particular lines here. I'll go to define slopes, I'll click here, I'll select dot and dash for now. Can you see what I'm going to be doing here is I'll simply move it upwards a little bit. Can you see, guys? So I want this particular truss to be attached to this roof. What I can do here is I can simply select this particular truss and then attach top base to this particular roof, and I'll wait. Can you see, guys? So this sort of truss has been created according to the roof we have. Now what I want is, sometimes, can you see, these have been cut off. So what I want to change, this. I can simply go to tab option here. I'll select this particular element, and then in our modify settings we have an option called cope. We can use those cope options to move them up and down. Now what I can do is I can select this particular truss, or I can simply copy it from this base point perhaps to here, to wherever I want, so that my roof gets completed, right? So in this particular way you can use your trusses. Can you see all of them have been created now? Use your trusses to support your roofs. So the internship project, this is our internship project. You guys need to be little bit careful here because it may be a little bit confusing. So we'll simply just browse around through the different pages of this particular internship file that was submitted to me. First of all, what we need to study is the page numbers. Can you see here a simple sort of a box here? This box denotes the scale, date, the drawn and checked by, and the job number, and it also stores the page number here. Can you see S0? On the subsequent pages, this number will change. This is the second page, and it is noted as S01, right? So by this you can correlate between the different page numbers. So we'll just zoom around to the different pages. On this S1 page, we have our foundation and ground floor plan. On this second page, S02 page, we have our second floor. We'll just zoom around to these pages. We have our third floor, we have our fourth floor, fifth concrete roofing framing plan, roof floor plan, etc, etc. We have some of the elevations here, some wall elevations here. We have some footing schedules and details. We have elevation wall details here. We have stair sections and details here. We have beam and steel column details schedules here. We have some other schedules or beam schedules here, and then we have some concrete column schedules here. We have post tensioning details here. We have post tensioning notes here. We have general structural notes here. So you guys need to go through all these notes before starting the project. And now let's move on to the first page. Can you see the first page? We have S1 page. We have our foundation and ground floor plan. In this particular plan, we have to first of all go through these general notes, because some of the important details are left in this particular note. For example, in our foundation and ground floor plan, we have our floor slab. For those particular ground floor slab, the detail is given here. Ground slab on the grade should be 4 inches concrete slab. So we have to go through all these notes, and let's zoom into this layout here. You can see all the grids here numbered A, B, C, D, and 1, 2, 3, 4 in this particular direction. And then we have some of the structural elements here. But how are those denoted? In order to see how every particular element is denoted here, we can simply go and split my view first of all and go to the schedules. I'll simply zoom around and go to the schedules here. We have a beam schedule. First of all, let's deal with columns. I'll simply go here, and we have our concrete column schedules. How do we see these concrete columns here? Where are they visible? So in order to see them, we can simply zoom on to the concrete column schedule, and see the mark here. Can you see an option called mark, a sort of item called mark? Can you see mark? We have different sort of marks here. And now for the concrete column, we have C7, C10, C8, C9, and C10. Let's look at these columns here because they are simpler. We don't have to see the details. I'll show you guys how to see the details here, but since these are the simpler columns, we'll simply start with these. We have a C7 column, C8, C9, and C10. We'll simply, in our first page of the foundation and ground floor plan, we'll simply zoom in and find where we can see the C7. So if I zoom in here, can you see we have a C7? So this means that the column C7 has been placed here. Can you see this particular sort of a column? So this column is denoted as C7, and the details, the sizes can be seen in the schedules. Can you see C7? It is a column of 8 inches and 16 inches. The reinforcement is this, and then we have some ties here as well. We have some comments here as well. Let's not look into these details here. Just simply zoom in and create correlate between different two drawings. If I want, we have some other types of columns. Here we have C10. Can you see it is 8 inches by 16 inches, and some other column C8, etc, etc. So you can see the concrete columns here. But if I zoom in, if I move to the previous page here and the previous page here, can you see we have another column schedule? Now you may get confused at what this column schedule is if we have seen the concrete column schedule before. So in a big project, we have different types of columns. We have steel columns and we have concrete columns. The previous schedule which was denoted by C was for concrete columns, and now we have steel columns here. It is denoted by SC. For example, the SC1 is a steel column which is denoted as 1, and which has a size of 6 inches cross 6 inches and a thickness of 1/4 inches. And then we have these details. It is FY is 50, etc, etc. And now can you see here we have a column, steel column denoted as SC11. If I zoom into SC11, so this is a steel column which is of hollow section, where you can see clearly it is a hollow sort of steel section here, and it is 6 inches Where is it? So it is 6 inches wide. It has the breadth of 12 inches and the thickness of 1 by 2 inches. So you can correlate between these different two drawings and sort of know what these columns are. You can read these particular drawings. We have some, for example, here we have SC8. Can we go to SC8 here? Can you see it is 6 inches cross, is sort of a square column, but a hollow column here. Can you see we have some space here? And then it is of what was it, SC8, right? So it is of the thickness of 3 by 8 inches. Okay, now the next thing we have, we'll simply move on here, beam schedules, column schedules, and then I'll just move back. We'll just see the beams in the second floor. Do we have some column schedules? Let me see some, if I have some. Right, not here, not here, not here, not here. Where can I write? Here, yeah. Can you see on the page number S07 we have some footing schedules. Now if I want some footings, we have two types of footings here, denoted as WF and then F. Can you see here, guys? For a particular single column, we will use an isolated footing. So this isolated footing is denoted by F. So we have 23 types of different isolated footings. Some of them may be square, some of them may be trapezoidal, some of them may be rectangular, etc., etc., of different sizes here. And now for this particular steel column SC8, we have a foundation called F21. We'll simply zoom into F21, and then it is of 5 inches cross 5 inches, and then we have some depth here of 16 inches. Now in a similar way, we have different sort of footings. F21, we have for these sort of columns, we have F18. We can simply zoom into F18 and take all the details. We have F14. Can you see, guys? This is sort of a trapezoidal footing, F14. Can you see? 14 cross 14 cross 14. Now I'm able to see the top view of this particular footing, right? But sometimes what I need is I want to see the section of this this footing in order to check all the details. Now if I want to check the details, I'll simply correlate between these two. This is F14, right? And I'll simply go here and zoom into F14. Can you see, if I move to the side, we have some section 4 and it is on the page number S7. So we are on the page number S7 and we'll zoom into section 4. We have section 3 here. This is not for us. We'll simply zoom around and find the section 4. Can I see the section 4? Right, yes, I can see the section 4. So this sort of footing is not an isolated footing. It is a footing that sort of merges into the slab. Can you see here we have on the inside we have slab, right? Like this slab goes. So this sort of footing merges into the slab, sort of monolithic slab here, and this just zooms blends into our isolated footing. So in order to create this footing, we have to use this particular section. Can you see, can we find another section here? How do we find this particular section? Can you see in the, what was it F14? Yeah, F14. Somewhere there will be a section denoted here. Yeah, here. Can you see S7? This particular section, F14, section 4. So not this particular one, maybe some other one. Yeah, let me show you guys in this wall foundation. Can you see, guys, here we have some wall foundations. So all the types of walls you see here, these sort of walls, these are the structural walls. Nothing architectural will be visible in the structural internship file. So every single wall that is denoted here is a structural wall, and every wall will have its own foundation called as wall foundation. So we can see here wall foundation 42, wall foundation 36, wall foundation 16A here. We have different sort of foundations, wall foundation 36A. And for these particular wall foundations, we can see the details here. The size is 16 inches, and then in order to see, it is a monolithic sort of foundation. And in order to see the sections of these particular wall foundations, we can simply zoom in and go to the sections. Each sort of foundation will have a section attached to it, maybe not on this wall, but this wall will be replicated somewhere else. For example, 42 WF42, there is no section here, but if I zoom around this drawing, somewhere I'll see the section for this WF42. Let me check. Do we have some WF42 here? Not. Let's take the WF48 here, right? So this will be visible on page number 7, and this will be the third section on that particular page. So we have page number 7, we have third. Can you see, guys? So this sort of a wall footing is of this type, so it blends into the slab of the foundation. So this sort of footing will be created according to this section. So now this is all well and done, but how do we recreate this in BIM, in our Revit? So we'll just simply go, and I'll simply create some grids here, quickly create some grids here. Okay, and now let us say we'll move on to our Rebar here. I want to recreate this SC10 and S7. So how do I do that? I'll simply go here into my Revit. I'll simply go to structure. I'll simply select on column, and I go to, since we have to place this the concrete column first, I'll simply go here. I'll select a concrete column here. I'll go to edit type. I'll rename it, or first of all duplicate it, and then rename it here as C7, right? Sorry, I'll just select C7. I'll simply OK it, and then change the dimensions accordingly. What is the dimensions for this particular C7? Let's move to the column schedule here. Where is the column schedule? Yeah, here it is 16 cross 8 cross 16, so I'm in the wrong template here. I'll simply go back. I'll simply close this template, simply know it. Okay, simply go to new, simply go to here, and then I'll go to English Imperial, open here. I'll simply go to default template and click open now. Okay here, and then I'll place some grids quickly like this, sort of like this. Let's create a single grid now. I'll zoom in. I'll go to structure now, and then I'll go to, I think I've opened a wrong template again. Let me check. Yeah, I've opened an architectural template. We go new here, go to browse template now. I'll simply go to English Imperial and open a structural template. I'll simply the previous time I opened the default template. I want to structural analysis default template here. I'll select open, and then I'll quickly create the grids, and then I'll just go to the structure. I'll just go to the columns here. I'll just go to some rectangular columns. I'll just rename it as C7. Okay, and I'll just give it the dimensions according to 8 and 16 inches, right? 8 inches and then 16 inches, right? I'll click OK. Can you see this column has now been placed? So I want to change the orientation. I'll simply press tab, space, and then its orientation gets changed. I'll simply paste it right now. If I want to change the fine and then to wireframe, I can change it to there as well. Or if I can change it to shaded, I want shaded, I can change it to shaded as well. And now what I want is, I want some SC10 here. I'll simply go to, I'll move down here and go to maybe SC10 here, right? So SC10, we have our SC10 6 into 12 into 1 by 2, right? We go here. I'll simply select a hollow shape. Do we have some hollow columns? No, we don't have some hollow columns, so we'll simply load the family here. Load family here, and then go back here. We'll select structural columns here, and then we'll select steel columns here. We want some hollow sections, circular hollow section. We want some rectangular hollow section. Do we have some rectangular hollow section? Yes, we have some rectangular hollow section. We'll simply open it, select any of the sizes here, Simply go to edit type now and change the breadth and height. What is it? 6 into 12, right? 6 inches, 12 inches, and then thickness should be 1 by 2 inches, right? Yeah, 1 by 2. 1 by 2 inches. I'll select OK. Can you see a hollow section appears? If I want to change the orientation, I'll simply press the tab button, space button, and I'll be able to place it here. Now the next thing is we have our foundation F18. We'll simply go to the foundation schedule. It's here. F18 we have. So we'll move to the section detail S11 and A. Simply go here and go to S11. So it's S13, so this will be S11. No, this one, right? S11 we have A, we want A, right? Detail A. Can I find it? Yeah, here. So this is sort of a trapezoidal footing. Let's create this trapezoidal footing. Where we can go here, we can go to structure, we can go to isolated foundations, and then we can simply select here. It is not visible. Oh, I placed it on level 2. This is not good. So I'll go to 3D. I'm able to see it now. Went into 3D and I'll select this column. I'll simply duplicate it first of all and rename it as, how do I rename it? It is, was it F18, right? It was F18, so I'll just rename it as F-18, and then I'll just it is 7 into 7, right? So I'll give it as 7 into 7 with this 7, and the height is also 7, right? I'll click OK. So since this is not a trapezoidal footing, I'll simply go to the edit family now. I'll simply select this and go to the reference view, reference level, or I can see the reference level here. I'll go to the elevations now. I'll just go to any of the elevations. I'll simply zoom in. So go to the front elevation, right? I'm able to see this particular sort of footing. I'll just go back. I'll just recheck what the footing looks like, right? We can use, simply delete this for now, and we can use the blend option. Do we see create here? We have some blend. Okay, we'll go to reference level now. We'll just take the blend option here. We'll just select the base like this, sort of like this. For now, let's keep it like this. We'll simply just edit the top now like this. I'll simply select it, go to the sort of front view. It is created, but it's created on the upside, or back view, maybe left view, right? Just go back here. I'll simply select it. I'll just move, I can move it down, or I can give the first end as 0 feet, 0 feet, and then the first end should be according to the thickness. What is the thickness here? It is, what is the depth here? It is 18 inches, so I'll just give an 18 inches here. Cancel here 18. Let's give the second element as minus 18 inches. Select apply and then give the first one to 0. Hit apply. It's now been sort of created, and if I want, I'll simply load it into the project, override the existing parameters. Can you see, guys, this sort of trapezoidal footing has been created. So you can simply duplicate it and then create a different sort of footing, and then sort of create a project using this. I've already created a project, so let me show you guys how the project looks like. So I've created some of the levels here. I've created some of the individual footings, F12, etc, etc. I've created some of the wall foundations, and I've created the walls, the structural walls, the structural sort of foundations, the columns, the steel columns, all the things. I've created the walls, I've created etc, etc. Let's just look at it in the 3D. Can you see these are all the elements visible here? Is the structural only. If I want, I can simply go to do we have some section box here? Yeah, section box. So I'm not able to show you the section box since it's a central model and the model is not available. Can you see guys, I've created all the footings, the wall foundations according to the plans, and then I've created all the columns, etc, etc. Let's look at the different let's look at the top of the second floor. Can you see guys, I've also created some beams here as well. This is SC. Can you see concrete rectangular beam here? Some of the places there are some beams. I have forgotten to show you the beams. I'll show you the beams. We have some columns here as well, PC columns. Can you see here we have some, I'll just go back here. We have some columns called BC columns, right? Here we have some BC columns, and then let's for the beams. Can you see we have some beam schedule here as well? B1, B3, B3, B21. You can see all these beams here. Can you see? If I want to move this, it has been labeled as B300, and it is 1 into 8 inches into 16 inches. B300, right? 12 into 18 inches it is. So different beams we can create. It is on the second floor framing plan. So if I want, I can show you where the beams lie in this sort of second floor framing plan. Can you see some of the beams here? B300. We have some so if you are able to see the columns S10, so that means that this column extends all the way from the foundation from the first floor slab, ground floor slab, all the way to the second floor. If the particular column or the rectangular column, concrete column or the steel column is visible in the second floor, so that means that they are extending all the way through the second floor. Same with the walls. We have some slabs here as well, and then we have some beams. Can you see we have 300 B300, and then we have some nodes. We can see the particular beam here. If we want some sections of these particular beams, we can see these sections in this here as well. And then we have some tunnel slabs. We can create a slabs is very easy guys. It's simply as a floor. You can create simply as a floor and then create it on the Revit. So here in the 3D I can show you. So I've created, let's make it shaded. So I've created all the floors. Can you see guys, floors, and I've also created some stairs here in the concrete slab, top of the concrete slab. I'm able to show you guys. I've created some stairs here as well. Can you see? Assembled stairs. And what I've done is on the second floor I've created a cutout so that these stairs may go through the slab. I've created that cutout using the void option. You may see the in architecture I think we studied how the void option works. So I've created all the things in the structure. I've also created some schedules here. I've created some sheets. For example, the main plans are here. Can you see? I have my top of the second floor. I have my top of the concrete slab. I have some elevations and sections as well. Can you see? We have some elevation of this. We have some stair elevations here as well. We have some plan 6 as well. How does plan 6 look like in structure? How does plan work look like in structure? How does plan 2 look like in structure? How does live looks like? We have some schedules here as well. Can you see schedules? And we have some structural floors, structural sections, Can you see the column sections, the different etc etc. We have some structural footings here, we have some structural framing schedules here. So all the things you can see is the beams, and they are labeled as well. We have some structural column columns here as well. Can you see the columns SC, and then I've labeled them using the annotate tab here, and then labeled them on the grids, etc etc. So you guys can do this if you go through the all the Revit settings, if you know how a workflow works. So you guys may be able to do this. And on the next thing we're going to be studying, on the next part we're going to be studying how do we sort of create a analytical element. Can you see I'm not able to see the analytical elements here? How do we create those analytical elements, how we apply the loads, and sort of do the structural analysis then on robo structural analysis. So I think we'll see that in the next part. So take care, and I'll see you guys in the part 3.